Hey everybody, what's up? It's Professor Broman. It's Broman, and it's episode 15 of Ask Broman. It is Friday, December 1st. It is the end of the year. Holy fuck shit. It's insane. We are joined today on Ask Broman by Tim. Say hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Tim is another Twitch broadcaster. His handle is Darkness429. So we're going to talk a little bit to Tim about some stuff that he doesn't even know yet.
Oh. Yeah, I'm definitely going into this blind. I have no idea.
Yeah, he has no idea what's going on. And then we'll start taking your questions. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk with Tim is I have been on Twitch for a long time. I've been making content on the internet for a long time. And Tim, how long have you been doing the internet video gaming?
Just in general?
Making content.
Oh, making content. So probably, I want to say like 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, so I did some, I probably even longer than that, but I first started doing it when I was in high school. So I guess it's longer than 5 years. So I first started doing a thing called Battlefield Podcast long time ago.
Wow, okay.
During like Battlefield 2 times, Battlefield 3. So I guess we're looking at, oh crap, okay, so I guess we can say 13 years when I've done like a little bit of content here and there. Yeah, so so I did Battlefield Podcast, which is kind of like a little fun thing, and that kind of got some traction, and then went to college and didn't really do a lot there. Kind of did some content there, here and there, but I really would not say I really got hardcore into content creation until probably my junior year in college. So that's where I think I can say like 5 or 6 years.
Okay. When did you start on Twitch?
So I started on Twitch. I kind of started on Twitch when I was in college. So right around like my junior year again. Started streaming a little bit on Twitch. Someone was like, "Hey, have you heard of Twitch?" I'm like, "No, what is Twitch? I only know of YouTube." And they're like, "Well, it's kind of like YouTube, but think of the video as just a live stream. It's all happening live. And there's a chat room, and it's really neat. You should go check it out." So I'm like, okay, this is cool. So checked it out. I'm like, I want to do this. This is neat. So I did a little bit of Battlefield 3 live streaming. It was fun, but I just couldn't find the balance. I was busy with work, busy with school.
Tons of shit.
And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on. So I wasn't able to do it. So then I really got into Twitch in the beginning of 2014 with the Titanfall beta. So
okay.
that's when I say that's when I really started streaming on Twitch.
Okay. So 2014 is when you got started. When did you go full time? I always like to listen to people's timelines.
So I went full time. It was I would say that I went full time in December of 2014.
Oh wow, okay. Not too bad.
So I think I was able to fully commit to streaming towards the end of it was right before the new year.
All right.
Is when like I was able to just say like, okay, like I was starting to go to, so I was when I first started streaming, I had a part-time job at Best Buy. I was finishing up some prerequisites to go to physician's assistant school. So I wanted to be a PA. So that's what I have a degree in biology. I have a minor in psychology.
Damn.
And I really wanted to go to PA school.
Yeah.
And so I had some things that I needed to get done. And so I was going to school, and I was a part-time job at Best Buy, and absolutely hated working at Best Buy. It was terrible. It's a horrible job.
My brother worked at Best Buy. It was the last thing he did before Twitch.
Yeah, no, it's so cool how many content creators that I've met that had a job at Best Buy. And it's so cool. Like we all end up connecting at that point, and we're like, oh, I know. We know. Yeah, I got it. So, so I had a part-time job at Best Buy, and I got to a point with streaming. I found that weird balance. I was able to make it work. That I was actually able to leave Best Buy, and then I got to a point where I had to make the decision of continuing school. I had to put everything into school, or was I going to put everything into streaming? And so I made that decision of, okay, I'm going to stop going to school and I'm going to try out this streaming thing.
Okay. I get asked this question a lot about what made me decide that going full time was the bet, right?
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, for both of us in retrospect, everyone's like, well, duh, yeah, of course they do that. But before you made the decision, what were the things that were informing your choice? I guess basically this question would be like, what made you decide to go full time? Like, what made you feel like it was going to be successful? And if you could kind of break that down into stuff that people who are getting started right now could look for, that would also be super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like when my income was able to meet the same income that I was making at Best Buy,
Okay.
I think that was the moment in time where I was like, okay, I'm having a lot more fun doing streaming. Why punish myself by hurting my channel by dedicating time to Best Buy when it's growing? Like, it is showing signs of doing well. Then that was at the point where I was like, okay, I need to take the gamble of leaving a well-structured job that I know I have the hours, I can get the income, to something that is an unknown territory, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
And that was the moment in time where I was like, okay, I want to try this. And I had to sit down with my wife. My wife's a full-time engineer. So I mean, like, she was making like a decent, like, she's making decent money. Like, my money at that point was to help pay for school stuff, my bills, and that was it. So Amy was taking like a full brunt of it, and she was doing a lot of work. And we both sat down. I was like, listen, like, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. And at this point in time, I was just coming out of some really, really bad depression too. So like when we left Gainesville, we went to school at University of Florida. When we left there and we moved to South Florida for her job, went through just a wicked, like, just this time of depression where I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Just like life was just sucked. Like, we left all our friends, didn't know anybody, didn't know anyone here. Yeah, it's hard when you don't know anyone. Your life has just turned upside down. Like, everything that you knew for those past 4 years at college is now done. It's gone. It's your life has completely changed. You've
all
gotten
your friends, everybody.
Yeah, everyone's gone. Everything's changed. So yeah, that sucked. I hated my part-time job. I was just stressed out all the time. It wasn't good. And so I think she knew that when we sat down and we said, hey, like, can we make this work? Like, we gave ourselves like a 4-month window. Mm-hmm. Like, if this continues to grow, great. If it doesn't, then okay, you can say you tried, but then you have to get back on the horse and like do the thing.
Yeah.
So that was the deciding factor. It was like, okay, so let's give ourselves like the summer. It was the summer of 2014 where I was like, let's see what happens. And so we went through that.
So and I think this is a really important point out of your story, because it matches with mine a little bit. And anytime I see synergy, I'm like, oh, okay, this is probably a good truth for people. Yeah. So your content was already being monetized before you went full time.
Yes. Yeah, I was already partnered. I was already partnered at that point. I had gotten partnered through streaming Titanfall. Mm-hmm. So that was like my big thing. So I was already having an income there. People were like donating, at that, or tipping. I had ad revenue coming in. So like there was money coming in. Mm-hmm.
That's a piece of advice I feel like a lot of people, like, that's the step that I feel like a lot of people want to skip. Like, they want to,
the crap out of me when people say, hey, I want to try the streaming thing.
I'm going full time now.
Yeah, and like they dump all this money into gear and all this stuff. And it's like, you don't even know it's gonna work.
Sometimes people say that shit and they haven't streamed yet.
Yeah,
and they don't even know if they like it.
Yeah, I've had people come into my chat. They're like, "Hey Tim, I'm going full time streaming." And I'm like, cool, like, that's awesome. Like, I want to go check out their channel. And it's like they have like 200 followers and like maybe they have like 5 viewers. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs to start from somewhere, but you need to be careful. Like, you just can't jump into that head first. Like, there needs to be that base. Fallback. There needs to be a base, exactly. And if you don't have that, then wow, you're taking quite the gamble.
It can be a really dangerous risk, and that's the really sad thing, is that I have seen on my tenure in Twitch a lot of people like pull the trigger on going full time too soon, and they definitely could have gone full time, but then it sort of falls on its face because they are forced into a position where they need to monetize. Mm-hmm. As opposed to it just being part of their channel, and it drives this weird dynamic that sort of takes away from the entertainment core of what broadcasting is.
Right. And I think that a lot of people, they lose that. They see the big people making money, and it's hard not to see that. And so they want, like, I feel like people want to be a part of that. They're like, oh, the X person is making X amount of money because I've seen how many subs they get or how much like donations they get. Mm-hmm. I can do that too. Yeah. And I think it's a great mentality, but I feel like people lose like what Twitch is about. And like when I started streaming on Twitch, I didn't even know like people were like, my whole mindset when I started streaming Twitch is I need to get away from all this crap that's in my life right now. Mm-hmm. I like talking to people and I like playing video games. Well, let's go hang out with people on Twitch. Let me just have a few hours of my time away, and let me just hang out with some people and just have a laugh.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when people go into Twitch with that mentality, that natural progression of them now making money and actually being able to then go full time is a much more, it's an easier transition. It's not being forced. They're not having donation goals. They're not having like all these things. They're like, hey man, we got to hit this today. We got to do this. And like, it's almost, when you see pages like that, at least for me, I kind of like step away. I'm like, oh, this isn't kind of the vibe I like. It's not enjoyable for me.
I think that, and especially since you brought up like the goal setting stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of goal setting, but because it's a tool, right? Everything that we have on Twitch is a tool. But there's a point when goal setting looks obnoxious, and this has always been my advice. People love supporting your channel if they are pulling you into full-time status, right? So everyone has an idea based off of where they live. This is how much a good full-time salary is. So, if you live in a rural area, that might be $35,000 a year. If you live in New York, it might be $80,000 a year. And so goal setting based off of where you're at to get to, the 1,000 subs it takes for you to pay your rent and your bills, like that makes sense. There's a huge difference between goal setting to get to full-time and goal setting to get a Bugatti. Like,
right. Or like, hey,
so you need to... Yeah. My advice to all broadcasters that if you full time and you want to do goal setting, I think it's awesome, especially for a push. But you need to have a plan in place after that, and you need to understand that when those goals go away, there's going to be an adaptation period where you have to redefine how you monetize your channel.
I think the only thing when it comes to goal setting that for me personally, that I don't enjoy is when the entire stream is the main, like the multiple.
It can't be the focus. Yeah,
is the main focus of their content, and like that's what I mean is like that's what pulls me away. Is just like everything is all about making the money, and it's not creating the communities or just like having fun on this platform that you've created for yourself. And all you do is you just focus 110% on the making of the money. That's where I think people lose their focus.
That's kind of like best practices for goal setting. Like if you're going to do it, it just needs to be. It shouldn't be a continuous hard sell.
Of course,
right. It should be a part of like, hey, here's my sub goal. It's in the corner, and you reference it when it seems like it makes sense instead of talking about it every 5 minutes.
Right.
Just, like a basic education, just like if you were hanging out on TV or like even when we're doing the charity marathons, which I help organize for Guardian Con, I have like a white sheet or like a best practices sheet that I have for people that I send to everyone. I'm like, listen, you need to, obviously the point of this is to raise money. So we need to solicit donations and educate people about the charity.
Right.
But you need to focus on having fun first. Like you need to put your spin on whatever the fundraising is. And that's one of the reasons why it's so successful is because it's not a constant telethon being like phone in now and donate. It is a celebration of what we can do. And yeah, there's a pitch in there every once in a while, but the core focus is still having fun. Mm-hmm. Even for like a really noble goal. I'm a huge believer in that being the best way to operate your Twitch channel, even when it comes to charity. So that's like really interesting. So thanks for answering the full-time question. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
You have done something else that I get questions about a lot from myself personally, and I've sort of shared my side of how I've built relationships with developers, and I think you might have hinted at this with your podcast. But you've been involved in a lot of kind of like really big game reveals. Do you want to talk about how you went about building those relationships with the developers so that you were able to do those really, really cool things?
Yeah, like that honestly, that was that comes back to the beginning of me streaming. It kind of feels like it was just I was in the right place at the right time. Okay. When I was streaming Titanfall, a good buddy of mine who is the community manager of Titanfall, Matt Everett, just was looking for streamers, and he was hanging out in my channel. And he then invited me to E3 of 2014. It was my first ever E3 Expo. And it was really cool that I got invited to something that I have only ever watched on TV. I mean, when G4 was really big, like I would always watch E3 live. And it was a very cool experience for me to get invited to go out there. They needed a second broadcast. They needed a second host or to help do this Pro-Am tournament they were doing for Titanfall. They were originally doing it with just one person, with Alex Mendez, who I was a good friend at still am. He's a great guy. And so that just they brought me in. I did the co-commentating for the Pro-Am, and that kind of just like launched off that relationship with Electronic Arts. So doing that, and then they kept on bringing me in and doing more work. So I did a reveal stream for a Battlefield 4 DLC, and then that just created more opportunities to work with Electronic Arts, just from knowing the community manager of Titanfall at the time. And so like, yeah, I've done so much. Like like the last thing I did was the Star Wars Battlefront 2 gameplay reveal at Gamescom.
Yeah, that was when. Because I mean, like I think we'd played together before that, but then when I saw that, I was like, "What the fuck? Like, no shit." Tim is one of these people like showing off Star Wars right now. Like, what the actual fuck shit? I was so excited for you.
So I think just the thing is just being able to just I hate to say that it just that was one of those I was just in the right place at the right time, but that almost what feels like Twitch is sometimes is that you were doing the right thing. The right time, you were in the right place, and you just ended up talking to the right person.
I think that like that's huge and it's important, but like the basis, the underpinning of all that is like you were still putting yourself out there. And I think that a lot of people forget that when you're broadcasting, you have no idea who's watching your stream.
Exactly, and that's something you get in this. You get lulled in this false sense of security that I feel like broadcasters kind of just I hate to say like people have a broadcast face, but I feel like everyone has their broadcast person, and then they have their offline person.
Sure.
And then I feel like there's etiquette. There's things that you need to do because, like you said, there's always someone. You never know. You never know who's hanging out in your channel. There's been plenty of times where I've gone to an expo or I've gone somewhere, and an important person has come up to me and said, "Hey, I love watching your stream."
And you're
holy
like,
shit! I had no clue you watched my channel. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're definitely right. Is like having that, just being well spoken, just like having that proper etiquette. And everybody has their own attitude when it comes to streaming.
Absolutely.
Like some people like do not be yourself. Like be you.
Yeah.
Like be you, but don't be a scumbag. Like because like again, you never know who's watching.
I think that I think the big thing is, and this is what I've touched on this a few times on stream, but I think that the big key in all of this is that like networking happens organically and you can't force it. So
no.
Like I was really curious to see if you had a story like, oh, I was friends with so-and-so and I did X and then now I'm here. Because that's what everybody wants. Everyone wants like the hot tip on how to network with developers. And the hot tip is put in the time, actually like their game, and then wait.
Yeah, no, my story was just I feel like I got kind of fast tracked into it. It's not like I knew some guy who knew someone else. It was just I kind of just got put right into it. But there's a lot of people that I've seen kind of come into the same space that I'm in now that are forum members, or they're on Reddit, or they just are streamers, or they're YouTube content creators that some like a community manager really liked.
Yeah.
And so most definitely, like if you like, you can tell when someone is they're kind of like contracted out to make content, and then the people who just absolutely love what they do. They love that game.
Yeah.
So most definitely, like if you really love a title, like definitely like be active with community managers, be active with developers. Like they remember you.
Yeah.
They know who you are. Like I know for a fact, like I've sat in Matt Everett's office and I've seen his spreadsheet of influencers that he knows that he loves working with. Like they have their list of people and they're constantly looking for new people to work with.
It is 100% true. It's so if I didn't really realize the breadth of people who would watch on Twitch until I met someone like randomly at PAX East and they were like, oh yeah, I worked on this game called Broforce, and I was like, oh my god, I used to speedrun that game, it was great. And she was like, I know. And I was like, what do you mean you know? She's like, you think that someone's speedrunning one of our games on Twitch to like more than one person and we don't watch them? She was like, please. Please. And I was like, oh,
developers
cool.
love watching their games streamed.
And that was a big perspective check. I would argue that if you stream a game for a month, whatever game it is, the chances are almost 100% that a developer has come in to your stream and watched you play the game.
Yep. Or a community manager.
Or community manager.
They probably jotted your name down.
Or someone at the studio who's like, a programmer, like somebody. Because people want to watch my voice cracked. People want to watch folks enjoy the things that they create, you know? Like people love that shit. So never discount the power of Twitch as a networking tool. Like a lot of people look like, oh, I have to do networking time outside of Twitch.
No.
Like, motherfucker, you're doing it right now.
Like there's
right
nothing,
now
like,
you're doing it.
There's nothing wrong with putting your face out there.
And I'm not just talking about if you're broadcasting, if you are in chat. Like that, like it doesn't matter how you're interacting with people. If you're becoming part of a community, you are natively networking inside of there because you're just making friends. That's why I always say that networking is literally just making friends.
Yeah. No, I've gotten farther in business relationships with just hanging out and just having like not going with the intentions of like making money, but just like I met this one guy and we hung out and we had a beer and like we talked a few times and then there it is. Like that was just a natural progression of building a very strong relationship versus like going up to the booth at PAX East and throwing them my card saying, hey, I'm so-and-so and this is what I do. I usually don't get very far like that. And that's one big reason why I stopped going to PAX.
I've taken to calling that on the podcast.
What's that?
I've taken to calling that asking for anal on the first date. Because the thing is you're building a relationship. And if you go out on a date and you like buy one drink and they take one sip and you're like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Oh, I'm so-and-so. Do you like your drink? Yeah. Do you like anal? Like that is the conversation that you are having with with whoever it is. And sometimes the hard sell works. It happens for sure. But if you want a higher success in the long term, building a relationship before you come in with the ask is just so much smarter because it doesn't matter what industry you're in now. The amount of blind asks that come anyone's direction in a single day is just massive. Mm-hmm. And unless that human being is dedicated to answering every single fucking person, which newsflash, very few people are, the only way you're even going to get that conversation started is if you develop a relationship first. That's so
no. You're not like I like that. I think that's because like it's always funny to like, and this is a big reason why I've stopped going to conventions is because like I feel like I can get farther than with just like having a natural conversation with an email with presenting a deck, like giving. It's amazing how far I've been able to get with giving someone a deck and just saying like, hey, I'm so and so. This is what I do. Here's my information, and let's have a conversation. Instead of going up to like people at a PAX East booth and like, hey, this is me, like, let's do this. Let's go right into it. Like in my first year, I did that. And like,
if I could go, part of our fuck up stories, right?
Right, exactly. Like that's us learning. And like, if I could go back,
and then you think you're the hottest shit on the planet, and you're like, hey, what's up, developer? Yeah, I stream video games and made a penny. You want to give me $20 million to play your video game? Like everybody's done that fucking mistake. Okay, one more question, and I'm gonna need a quick answer out of you, and then we need to get to the questions. You said you made a deck for yourself. Like, yes. What is in that? And then if you guys don't know what a deck is, it's basically just like a quick information sheet about who you are and what you do.
Think of like a resume.
Like a resume, yeah. Yeah.
So my deck is made up of a PowerPoint presentation. It's in PDF form, but it's like it's in PowerPoint slides. And the first deck is, hey, this is me. This is what I do. The second page of the deck is, hey, this is what I've done in my career on Twitch, and then these are the things that I've done outside of Twitch that I've done because of Twitch. And so I actually have just a timeline with bullet points. It's like, hey, this is the year, this is the day, this is the event that I did, blah 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 blah. And then in the next slide, then I've gone into deeper explanations as to what that event was and why did they bring me out there.
Sure.
And then after that, I have a slide as to, hey, this is why people watch my stream and why you should want to work with me. And so it's just a quick just explanation of like X, Y, and Z. Like this is what I do. This is why people watch me. Like I stream first. It's kind of just a reiteration of what was in the first page. Like the first page is like people won't even look past the first page. That's why I try to put
you need to
like
have
a good breakdown,
first page.
but nothing crazy. Just a quick summary that you can read through. And then on Twinge, I asked a few months ago. I asked people just to leave me comment or just leave me reviews, review my stream. Like let me know what you think of my channel. And then I took the top rated reviews and I put them in my deck.
Yeah.
And so then when people look through my deck, they can have a real person outside of myself give them a reason as to why I'm a good streamer.
Yeah.
And why they enjoy watching my channel.
That's really that's genius. I never did that, and I still don't. My management company has a deck for me, and they sort of take care of all that. How long would you say it took you to put that together? And then we need to get to the questions. But this is I was not expecting you to bring that shit up, and that's totally new to me.
Yeah. So my buddy, I mean, you know Andy Lunique.
Yes, I do.
Andy Lunique and I, we have been very good friends since PAX South of 2015. We ran into each other at the San Antonio airport. And so he kept hounding me about making a deck. And so him and I sat through and we went through multiple iterations of a deck. And so it probably took me about 4 to 6 months to really get it locked in to a point where I was really happy with it.
Gotcha. So is that publicly available for anyone? Because I
do not. I mean, I usually
that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I usually just attach it to an email.
Yeah.
Because it has personal information on it. It has my contact info. It has my cell phone number. It has my email.
Okay.
Like I don't mind. Like I know my cell phone number is probably out there somewhere. I just don't want
you want control over it. I think that's.
I just don't want Joe Schmo downloading it from my website, going, "Oh, there's Tim's cell phone number," and then
exactly.
But if you'd love to see it, I'm more than happy to share.
God damn it, Tim. You have such good answers to all these questions, and like we could talk for forever, so we'll definitely need to have you back again in the future.
Of course.
Think you have a really acute business mind, and you operate differently than me,
funny
which I think is fascinating.
You say that, and then whenever I hear you talk, I'm like, God damn, I need to just sit down with Broman and just talk with him about his business because you blow me away. You are a very intelligent person, and I love just listening to you talk.
Thank you.
So
that's why this podcast is good, dipshits. No, but yeah, I definitely already know that I want you back on for sure. But let's get to some of these questions. So I have 2 people in here that have sort of been really pestering me on Twitter for a while, one of which is just constantly missed. So we're going to get this guy in here first. Okay. So this is Grindhead Jim. What's up, Jim? Oh God, please, Jim, be there.
How you doing?
There he is.
No, I have my mic muted and stuff.
No, you're just a respectful guy. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to be here, and thanks for doing this podcast at all ever.
It's my favorite thing.
This is something that, in 10 years that I've been doing content creation, like no one steps up to say, here's how you do things, and here's my lessons learned. It's always been this competition, and you fostered this environment of learning, which is amazing. So thank you.
I mean, it is my absolute pleasure and honor to do so, man. What can Tim and I do for you? What's your question?
Well,
what you got?
Basically, I had tweeted you out. I know I've been pestering you on Twitter for a while.
No, that's great. That's how I know to look for your name. It's what I tell everyone to do.
Well, I tweeted you a couple weeks ago about this idea I have. I'm building IT support help desk for content creators, whether it's Instagram, OBS, whatever. And what I've been trying to do is kind of look at the model for it and try to figure out the best way to go about it. Because my thought process is this. There's a huge hole in the content creation community for on-demand direct support, right? Mm-hmm. There's tons of resources. You can get a link. You can, I've told people how to do stuff, but then there's a gap. Like they're just having a hard time and they really need hands-on assistance. But your greatest resource as a human being is time. It's the most valuable thing that you have, and there's only so much of it.
Yeah.
So no matter how much you care about your friends and your fellow content creators, you only have so much time to give, and it just kind of, you don't want to demand too much of other people, things like that. But in the business world, you think nothing of calling IT support or customer service or something like that. And my question was like, well, why doesn't this exist for content creation? Why don't you have a group of people you can just go to rather than an overworked
So can you like give me the 2-sentence pitch of what you want to make?
Okay.
Or what you think the space needs. 2-sentence pitch.
Okay. What I'm looking to do is create a IT or help desk support on-demand community for content creators to go to when they need assistance directly with any problem they're having, technical, psychological, what have you. Just a place to go for support.
All right. So, elevator pitch. It's not an elevator. We don't have an elevator, chat. I broke the fourth wall. But
fair.
But okay.
Fair.
So I think honestly, my answer to why that doesn't exist, and we'll get Tim's response too here in a second. But my first thought is everything about the content creation space is so ad hoc. There's no formalized union where you could go have like a central communication that would be distributed amongst every content creator. So I feel like because there's a lack of centralization, a help desk a help desk service doesn't exist because it's hard to establish yourself in a space to do that when there's no central distribution platform.
Right.
What do you think, Tim?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, so for me, I mean, whenever I've had any issues or any type of problems, I mean, like, there's already outlets for me to go to. I have Reddit, I have YouTube, I have Twitter. So I feel like that those outlets of communication when it comes to what I'm looking for as far as help are already established. So it's hard to look for, like, I feel like a centralized IT hub, if you would. Like, I don't really think that it needs to exist within an environment that people are so used to already using, i.e. like Twitter or going to a YouTube help vid. And that's just me. As soon as I heard this, I'm like, well, I already have Reddit. Like, I've gone to, like, whenever I'm looking to do something or I'm trying to figure out an issue, it's usually like I Google search it or I'm going to a YouTube video and it's already there for me.
And some people do that every single day, yet still struggle and don't know where to turn.
I gotcha.
And that's the kind of service I'm trying to provide, because people have different learning styles. I mean, my master's degree is in education.
Sure.
So the idea is that you have to, because the thing is, all these things exist, and yet people like you and I get asked these questions every day anyway.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, there's definitely space for more education. I don't disagree with that at all. So, let me build you a business plan really quick. Okay. Like, right. So if my statement is true, which is you lack a core distribution, a central distribution platform, you would need to make this in order to make this successful, you would need to create that platform, in my opinion. So, and then after you do that, you need to market the ever living fuck out of it. And whether that is you going personally to every single content creator that you know and sending them a DM or sending them a business email, so that you can get that off the ground and running and you can get people talking about it, that would drive folks to you. And as you helped more and more people, it would build this organic network of folks that know, oh, you have a problem. Well, if you need to talk to someone right now and they're going to stick with you until you fix the problem, or all efforts or ideas are exhausted, okay, Grindhead Jim's your dude. That's my thought. Because and then you'd also need to figure out a way to monetize that long term, because people are used to getting this information for free. So you'd have to figure out a way to drive or derive value out of that.
Exactly.
For yourself, which is, I don't know if I have an answer to that, but if you needed to build the platform, that's what you would need to do.
Gotcha. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. You have any ideas, any thoughts to add there, Tim?
No, I think again, like, you definitely have to grassroot it. Like, that's definitely, like, that's the big thing, is like trying to just go have face-to-face time, whether it's through an email or it's at a TwitchCon or at a PAX, and definitely give some big reasons as to, like, why they need your service and why they should talk about your service with their friends who would then potentially need that service.
Yeah.
As well, but like, it's like that's definitely a difficult one. I think it's a great idea. I think within, like, the space that we're in, like, you definitely have to find some really, really good reasons as to, like, why Grindhead Jim is 10 times better or 100 times better than going to Reddit or going to a YouTube video.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
go ahead.
And the idea is just to, again, I don't want to position this idea or this organization as any sort of a replacement for the existing resources. It's a way of helping you laser focus and get the exact.
No, yeah, I mean, I think your pitch is solid. Otherwise, I would have told you to fuck off. Like, like legitimately, I just needed to understand your idea a little bit better. But no, I mean, your pitch at its core is solid. Like, I definitely can think of times in the past where I was like, man, if someone could just fucking sit down with me for a fucking hour, that would be great. And I was able to identify those times, and it usually took me 10 to 12 hours to solve whatever the problem was. But if I would have been able to sit with someone, it would have been helpful. So there's definitely a market. I think that the reason that it doesn't exist yet is the conversation that we're having right now. It's a lot of startup work. It's a lot of effort. And we mentioned this on the last broadcast, but like one of the magic components for whatever your success is going to be in this is your ability to create a solution to solving these problems. So your creativity is going to be part of your limit here. But if you believe in it, you keep trying. I think that you have a legitimate shot at offering a great service to people.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find you or contact you if they're interested in your services, or if they just want to watch you stream? If they want to get on the ground floor of Grindhead Gym LLC?
There you do. Actually, it's grindheadgym.com/whatever it is. So Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, whatever. You're welcome to come to the stream anytime, hang out, ask some questions, because I definitely want to get an idea of what you guys are looking for. It's something that it's important to me, because I see the chat. You guys are going nuts saying all these great ideas. Come talk to me. Tell me what's going to provide value so I can help you. That's all I got. Thank you.
Jim's trying to build a responsive market, guys. I like it. You have a great day, Jim.
You too. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you. I think that I love seeing people identify already existing market spaces for other like economic sectors on Twitch and in content creation. So like, I know that it seems silly for some people maybe listening to be like, why would you need a support or a help desk? But like, why honestly, the fuck does any industry have support or help desk? It's because
it's needed.
It's needed. And as Twitch or Twitter or wherever you make content, as that grows and things become more formalized, because we're still like in the infancy of all of this, a help desk sort of situation, help desk company might do very, very well. It's a matter of sort of, it needs to define itself and its capacity first. And I think that Jim's onto something for sure. And I like
most
the dice
definitely.
roll.
I think the only thing that is the issue is it just becoming buried. Like within the oversaturation that is the internet. So how do you make yourself stand out as that beacon of light that is tech support when you already have so many other outlets? That is definitely the hurdle that Jim has to figure out how to jump over.
Yeah, but I'm definitely looking forward. Like this is my favorite part about this is like we have nothing but time, so I can't wait to find out like what Jim is doing in a year, or 2 years for sure. It's exciting. So. The next guy that we have here, his name is Astros. Hello, Astros. What's up? We spoke for like 1 minute on the last episode right before he had to go into work, and I had to give him some hot, quick and dirty advice. It was like a minute, and he was hitting me up today to be like, listen, I really had follow-ups. So Astros, welcome back.
Thank you.
You're our first returning guest, and you are probably going to get me piles of shit on Twitter for that, but I don't care because I love you. So,
dude, I love you too.
So go ahead and ask your question again, and then we'll get into it.
All right, hold on. Let me mute the stream so I don't hear myself twice. And
okay, I got you.
Hear myself. So I asked. My question was like, I played another game and I got like affiliated and everything, but it just felt like it was too fast.
Right.
And like I didn't have like the freedom to like play the actual games I wanted to. And like the thing is, I like stopped playing that game like 4 months ago that I grew the following on.
Yeah.
So it's like even if I were to, your thing was, go back and do that for the time.
Yeah, dedicate
like,
part of your stream to your original game and then go to variety after that. Yeah.
But like since I haven't played the game in so long, I just have this like feeling that like no one's gonna come back if they weren't like sticking around for like me and not just the game, then like are they gonna come back now that like I don't play the game anymore and now like I'm back after like a 4-month break?
Sure. So I mean, first of all, you need to like just get over that, because like if no one shows up, like fuck them, whatever, cool, you have to start over from zero. If it's something that you really want, you shouldn't let that be a barrier to you. First off. Second of all, like, it sucks to feel like you're starting over, but whether or not you realize it or whether or not those people come the first time you stream doesn't mean that you're off their radar. Unless your follower count says 0, there is still someone who's getting notifications when you go live. And they might not show up day 1 or day 2, but they could show up, day 10. Okay. I think that there's definitely an amount of just, you have to say, like, if it's what you want, you just have to go for it. And if you're in the unfortunate situation of starting from 0 again, that sucks, but it is what it is, and you have to go for it. Any thoughts, Tim?
Yeah, well, I want to ask a question. Astros, what game was it that you were playing?
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike, and what game are you that you are moving to?
League of Legends.
League of Legends. Okay, so here's some of the things that I think that are really difficult as far as like, you got affiliated with Counter-Strike, right? So I mean, like they're very different games, and that's the hardest part. But those directors are really saturated as well. Like there's so many people that stream those games. You definitely want to try to find ways of either networking with other broadcasters that are around your size, or that things that you connect with, and find reasons to maybe collaborate with them. I think those are definitely things that can really help you kind of like get into that League of Legends space, because you found your niche. You found your niche on Twitch. You got affiliated for playing Counter-Strike, and then moving on to something else like League of Legends. That's a big paradigm shift in what your content creation was. So I think like definitely like collaborating with other League of Legends streamers that are close to your size, or people that you connect with, or maybe like you are hanging out in another streamer's channel, and you like maybe you mod for them, or finding those people that you just are. Or you're gaming a lot with that are streamers. I think trying to find reasons to collaborate with people on Twitch is definitely a very strong way to build your audience. Not only just your audience, but their audience as well. Them coming back to like, hey, I love it when you stream with Astros. Like, when you stream with Astros again. So like finding those moments are huge.
That is huge. For Twitch streamers. That was, I mean, from my perspective, that is exactly what myself, T-Rex, and King Gathalion did when Destiny 2 came out. All of our numbers were exactly the fucking same right when that game launched. And even well into the first like year and a half of Destiny, Corey, myself, and T-Rex would carry the same amount of viewership as long as we were the only person online of the three of us. So collaborating with people of your size and growing together is like, it's so powerful. And it can have massive long-term effects. So I definitely second that advice. Network and try and find some folks that you want to play with, because it makes it a more entertaining stream for you.
All right.
For sure. Do you have any follow-ups to that?
Not really. I guess one would be like, I know you talk a lot about like, in the beginning, like starting out, like you don't want to seem like you're throwing everything into it with like overlays and everything.
Yeah, you want to make sure that your channel looks like it hasn't been there for a million years, so folks just automatically assume that they make their shitty assumptions, right, as an end consumer. Oh, this guy has a super slick overlay, super slick design, amazing looking shit, and he's got 0 followers. Guess he's been doing this for 5 years. Fuck him, I'm gonna watch someone else. Yeah.
Well, what if you have friends who like offer to do stuff for you because they want like the experience?
We've talked about this before, but like that's my initial advice. But if you are someone who is a graphic designer, or you have friends that do graphic design, and it's a collaboration thing, then it goes from being I just paid someone for this shit, which is not a conversation, and is not, it's just like, whatever, okay, dude, you're so important, you paid for it. But if you said, someone says, who did your overlays, and you're like, oh, my friend Paul. Oh shit, how long have you known him? Oh, I've known him for 5 years. Damn, how long's he been doing overlay work? Oh, he's been doing overlay work for like 2 months. Like, he sort of demoed my channel and stuff. What do you think about it? Now you have this conversation and feedback loop, and your overlays are part of your personality and your own personal network, which is completely different than just dressing your shit up to the nines because you had some extra money to throw at it. Those are my thoughts. I don't know. What does Tim think? I'm actually really curious.
Yeah, I mean, like I've always been I'm a big fan of very minimalistic like overlays. So I mean, like definitely keeping like all the flashy stuff out of that, I think is huge. I mean, like I don't even like maybe not even having an overlay. You know, maybe just having just a nice little border around a camera, or maybe you don't even stream with the camera. I'm not too sure. I'm not too familiar with your stream. But you know, just I think keeping it very simplistic, I think, is a nice way to just kind of pretty up the stream, but not going into like too crazy and having like all these like 3D graphics and when someone like follows your channel, like big explosions and stuff. Like Broman said, like it's so over the top, and like you expect that in like the very large channels, but you usually don't see that in the smaller channels. You know, just having like I really like minimalistic stuff, so like having like small little pop-ups and things like that, I think definitely I think goes a lot. It's a lot bigger on the side of a viewer than it is to have like really flashy stuff. Because you're trying to build a viewership of just people who enjoy you. Mm-hmm. You know, the focus needs to be you, Astros, and the gameplay, nothing else.
Ultimately, that's your success make or break point is you. And a lot, I feel like there's a trend of feeling like you can dress your channel up with really nice bonus shit, but that doesn't matter if the core concept is bad.
Yeah.
You know, so what, like, you know, what I think that Tim and I are in agreement, you know, it's about as long as whatever you're doing design wise matches who you are and it makes sense in your framework, then do it. But if you're just putting fancy, smiley, cool, shiny, glittery shit all over your stream just because you think it's going to make your stream better, you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's like the guy who likes his car a lot and puts all like the fuzzy dice and all the decals and stuff, but it's not going to make his car faster.
Exactly.
You know, like you need to work on the internals. You need to like, you know, you're adding your turbo or you're going to change the muffler. You know, you need to work on the what's down there, what's under the hood, not the exterior stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope we got to fully answer your questions this time, Astros. You want to go ahead and let everybody know where you're at and where they can find you on the internet?
Twitter and Twitch, I'm Astros BK, and then my YouTube is Astros Gaming.
Awesome,
and then
man.
That's all I have right now.
I like it. Go ahead and link that stuff in chat for everybody here, and I'll give it a couple spams, and folks will come check you out. Thank you so much, man.
Dude, thanks for giving me another opportunity and everything. I really appreciate it.
I felt super bad that you were going into work, so.
Nah, it was all good. I was like, dude, I was getting ready, like you were wrapping it up. I'm like, this is gonna be the one time I get dragged in and I have to go back into work.
It was rough. I felt bad, but yeah. Have a good day, man.
Yep, you too.
All right. It looks like we have time for one, maybe two more questions. Holy shit, this went by fast. Let's get this guy. Let's get Snake Ven. 431. Hello, Mr. Snake. What's up?
Hey, Broman. What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
I am great. Tim and I are here for you. What can we do for you?
First off, thanks for this opportunity to talk to you.
Anytime, man.
So I've been bugging you on Twitter for just a little bit.
A little bit. It's fine. It's all good.
So I'm curious as to if there's any sort of implementation or application developments, extensions that content creators / streamers really need for their streams, or just sort of curious for anything.
Sure. So, you've been talking to me about this a little bit. I am not super imaginative when it comes to things like that. So I'm going to let Tim go first because I feel like he might have some ideas, and then I'll come in second.
So when we're talking about extensions, are you talking about the actual like Twitch extensions program?
It could be. Really, I'm just a developer who loves code.
Okay.
So I'm just looking to pretty much build anything, try to do custom.
Oh, I see. So you're literally just like, what does a broadcaster need, and I can make it for him.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh my gosh.
It's a huge question, right?
That's huge because there's so many things like, man, if I had that would be so cool. I think there's definitely some like Nerd or Die does some really cool things. I think what streamers are always looking for are better ways to express themselves. Whether it's through alerts or through overlays, through notifications. I think that's definitely something that a lot of people look for is like those customs. I know we were just talking about Astros about custom or like be careful with customization of overlays. But there are definitely a lot of broadcasters there that are looking for people to make custom overlays and notifications. So I think that's definitely like a big thing that I would that I've always looked for. Is to have a programmer that could customize things for me like that. And I know there are some outlets, but they're very few and far between. Like you end up knowing someone who on Twitter or someone who knows someone else.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely hard because Twitch is at a place where it feels like, and this is where the magic's at, right? It feels like everything I could really want as far as extensions are concerned, except for really hyper specialized stuff, is already present, right? Like I have a bot to manage my chat room. I have overlays for my stream. I have monetization on everything. And like, I feel like I sort of have my channel where it's at. I don't really want anything new. I believe that have you been emailing me as well?
No, I haven't emailed yet.
Okay, cool. Well, then this is a conversation I had with someone else. This was literally who asked the same question. This is literally the only thing I could come up with. And it's, like I said, hyper specialized because of what I do outside of Twitch. So if I had an extension built that would create a pop-up when somebody bought some coffee, or create a pop-up when somebody bought a Guardian Con ticket, these are the sort of things that I am looking for at this point. But again, that's hyper specialized. Another thing that was a need but is currently being addressed by the folks at Tiltify is I wanted a way for Guardian Con and anybody who wanted to support St. Jude, so by extension Play Live, to be able to do sustained giving where they could set an amount on Twitch and say, I want to give $10 a month to so-and-so, and that would make a pop-up, but it would also do the recurring, it would have its own special notification, its own special style, because long-term giving is such a huge and important thing for all charities, but St. Jude especially. So again, I think that maybe the market space for where you're at right now might be going around and hunting down people on Twitch and saying, listen, I noticed that you're doing this thing. I would love to design something for your channel that will help you do this thing better. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the basic stuff on Twitch is covered now from 4 or 5 different companies. And I think that, again, I definitely think that there's a space there, but it's all around specialization and who you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I guess that kind of leads to a second question is, how do you present yourself to more people other than just going to each person and saying, hey, do you need something?
I mean, I think building up a portfolio.
Yeah.
Building up a portfolio is huge. I think like again, having a deck of some sort or having a website and saying, hey, I've done this, this, and this. It's really cool shit. And leaving it places, tweeting it at someone or sending it into their business email, or even just posting on Reddit, like the Twitch Reddit. Like broadcasters of all shapes and sizes are in there, and they are looking for any type of information. I've seen some of the craziest posts in there. I'm like, I never really thought of that. Like Dr. Lupo has a replay functionality that is really cool, and he coded him and one of his mods coded that themselves. Like that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And people have like gone to the Twitch Reddit and have asked specifically about Dr. Lupo's replay, and like have like had a conversation about it. So like I think there are already outlets for you to put yourself out there. And I think having a portfolio of saying like, hey, I've done, or even if you haven't done it, or just saying like, these are my abilities, and then have mock-ups.
Yeah.
Things that you think are really cool, make these mock-ups and then showcase them.
It's free advice from chat. So I'm going to break the fourth wall again here. Brick and Nick, who is a creative broadcaster here. He does Lego builds on Twitch. He mentioned to think of all the creative broadcasters out there that use Etsy. An integration for Etsy on Twitch would be huge.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
that's really cool.
Like that is a free project for you that I am like, there's fucking thousands of creative broadcasters that also have their stuff on Etsy and would probably die for something like that.
That's a great idea.
And there's actually, honestly, there's another, like using Twitch and able to do that. Like you can broadcast yourself coding. And you can then create a conversation around
that is also
what
true.
you do.
Yeah, that has been a thought I've had.
Yeah, we actually, that's, this is how I know you're smart, Tim, because I gave that same advice to someone else that they should start coding on Twitch.
Yeah.
Because it's a great, you can improve your skill set faster. You're building that organic network and you're finding people who are interested in coding all just by putting yourself out there for like an hour or 2 hours a day of coding.
Yeah.
Guys, Tim is smart.
I try.
You all really need to follow Tim. Do you have any follow-up questions to that, my friend?
I think I'm pretty good. If anything, I might shoot you an email or something. But
yeah, I mean, my emails are always open. I can't speak for Tim, but
just Tim at darkness429.com if you want to get a hold of me.
There you go. Tim is also open for your contact, which I think is pretty kick-ass of him. You have a good day, Snake Vin.
Thanks, you too, Broman, Tim.
Thank you. All right, that's gonna wrap up the Q&A because we only do an hour and it fucking flew by.
I was honestly thinking you were gonna do it for another hour.
Usually, I like to keep it to an hour, but that's why we do it more than once a week, and why we're definitely going to have you back, Tim.
I'm excited for round 2
for sure. Before we close out, Tim, is there, when I asked you to be on this, was there one piece of advice that you were like really hoping you'd be able to give to somebody, or like one thought you really wanted to get out into the universe or whatever, when we talked the first time?
Honestly, no. Like I wasn't really sure what to expect. No, we had talked about my story, but I wasn't really sure I was going to be giving advice. I really thought I was just going to be like, hey, this is what I do, this is who I am, and there we go. So ask me that question again.
Again, right now?
No, like next time.
Like again,
not
next
right
time?
now.
Like when you're on next time. Okay,
yeah, I
got you. So to everyone who's out there listening, I jumped that on Tim. I didn't know if he had an answer or not, so I feel like a dickhead. If you're out there listening, please go follow Tim. He is our guest. It's Darkness429 on Twitch, and tell everyone what it sounds like. You have a website, so like shout out the rest of your stuff.
Yeah, no, like literally it's just Darkness429 everywhere. Darkness429, darkness429.com, twitter.com/darkness429, twitch.tv/darkness429. It's pretty easy to find me.
It's everywhere. So Darkness429 is Tim.
Yeah, it's me.
Fantastic, guys. So thank you if you're out there listening on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher or Anchor or anywhere else that we put up this podcast. Thank you very much. Please, share us with some friends, give us a rating, whatever it is. I would greatly appreciate it. The sole purpose of this podcast is to help improve your life, no matter what it is that you're doing. So thank you for sharing any of your time today with myself and Tim, whenever you're listening, whether it's now or 10 years from now. Thank you, and we will talk to you next time. Peace.